Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Thomas podcast here today. I'm joined with Connor for the very first time, technically on a one-on-one podcast. Yeah, because last time you were on the show, at least in the YouTube sphere anyway, you were, well, yeah, I don't know whether they saw your face technically. You were there, but why are you there?
I was a bit vacant.
You were a bit vacant, absolutely. How are you though?
Well, I'm still living.
That's all we
Well,
can wish for in these current times.
yeah. All you can wish for these days is just, to stay safe.
Yep, absolutely. Staying safe is important.
Staying safe. Yeah.
Yep. But have you been up to much, mate? I mean, obviously we saw each other in London not too long ago. Apart from that, have you done
Yeah.
anything?
We had fun in London.
Many beverages were consumed.
Many beverages were consumed. Went to a lovely place. Big up the Berlin in East Ham.
Yeah, big ups there.
Which happens to be just down the road from the Who shop. Any Doctor Who
Yes.
fans, be sure to check it out.
Yeah,
They're
but
very good people.
The Who shoppers had much love on the
Yeah,
show
but it
for
deserves a love.
for many weeks and months. And
Yes, we had many beverages. You died.
it's an in joke. If you know, you know. I don't.
Alex decided to die at the table, and at 8:37 p.m. we sadly lost him for a moment of silence, and then he came
Wait.
back,
It was
and
an in
he
joke.
was full of life.
I don't want to make. I don't want to dwell this too long just because people have recently lost anybody and they think we're taking the mick out of death. But yeah. So apart from that, mate, not been up to much. Obviously, you're still in the student dorms and stuff.
Yeah. I recently came into possession of a copy of Shakedown: Return of the
This is can you
Sontarans
like turn
on
your background off very
VHS.
quickly, so that you can. By
Oh,
the way,
so I can. Do I do a
his bedroom's a mess.
It's not that messy. It's just that there's an unmade bed in the background.
He doesn't. Yeah, he
Here we
doesn't
go.
put the effort in for the episodes. Look,
Well, yeah. Well, I was eating my tea before we started to record this, Alex.
what
So
were you
leave me
eating?
alone. Anyway, chicken nuggets.
From where?
The freezer.
Just
Uh,
chicken nuggets on their own.
yeah, that's all I fancied.
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock, Alex. What am I going to do? I was like, I'll just chuck some nuggets in the oven. Lovely. 15 minutes.
Did somebody say
Done.
just eat? Or even Uber Eats or
Yes, I recently came into possession of Shakedown: Return of the Sontarans on VHS. Alex is well aware of this.
is that where the John Levine clip today came from? In our chat.
No, that was shared on. There was a video on Twitter that was I can't remember who shared it now, but it's of John Levine saying that you're all going to hell, and that you're all going to burn. And so I just sent it into the chat. I don't know where that came from, but I saw it on Twitter, so I thought I'd share it.
Also, is he using an American accent in that clip?
I don't know. That's what I can't work out. Because he's like, oh, you're all going, and it's like, there's a twinge.
Yeah, it's like.
But then
Yeah,
the soul's, it's.
because
So
I
the
originally thought it was from
West,
Bristol.
the
But
West
it's from
Country,
Salisbury, isn't
the
it?
West, yeah, the sort of Salisbury West Country sort of accent comes out, and yeah, it's weird.
But
But
yeah,
but yeah,
obviously,
I've arranged for many. I've decided to buy a VHS player on eBay, Alex, and I'm going to start taking bookings for Shakedown and Chill. So if anyone's interested, hit me up.
if you're in the Cardiff area, you'll probably see him on apps such as Tinder and Grinder.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not wrong.
no, there'd be an image of me just holding Shakedown, going like, chill. Good movie, very good movie.
Jesus, I love how this has become a walking advert for your sector
In high definition VHS quality.
with some white stuff in it.
Yeah, the tape has some sort of I don't know
Residue.
if I hold it up. Yeah, you can just about see it. the people who are listening to this on apps such as Spotify and what else are you on?
Like Google, Apple,
And all your
Stitcher.
podcasting services.
I'm everywhere. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, there is some sort of white residue, which I don't think it's mold.
You can confirm that it wasn't you that put it there.
I can confirm it wasn't me. I've never seen. I mean, not like I've looked at that many VHS tapes in my life, but as a kid, there were VHS tapes in the house, such as my old Postman Pat videos, etc., etc. And of course, there was a point in time where I did have Doctor Who VHS tapes.
Did you ever have the original Star Wars trilogy on VHS? I thought that's a staple of everyone's VHS collection.
I had Empire Strikes Back, but I never watched it.
I had all three.
Wow.
But yeah, it's that. That's what Connor's been up to.
But yeah, if anyone knows what kind of white residue that might be, please get in touch.
You've also been going to the cinema a lot.
Mature answers only, please. What?
Yeah, because the Times podcast is all about the maturity. We literally did a drunk watch along to Only Fools and Horses. We filmed it yesterday. It was out last Friday for you listeners. So this is weird because obviously this is episode 67. Episode 66 is being recorded tomorrow. So we've done 3 back-to-back recordings of the podcast. And then next Friday, we're getting drunk to the It's Lantern, which is actually next Friday for listeners as well.
What have you got planned for episode 69?
There's not much planned for episode 69. That might actually end up being Avengers Infinity War. I think that might be where it lands. Actually, because this is episode 67, so it's Lantern 68. Infinity War 69.
Could work.
I think that's how it's going to work. So yeah, it's been obviously there's been news that came out yesterday in real time, a week and a bit ago about Jodie Whittaker leaving. Obviously, me, Connor, and Owen and John are going to be recording a podcast tomorrow, which you've already seen.
I'm really excited. I can't wait. Doctor Who's coming back.
I mean, to be fair, I don't mean to throw you under the bus, but you did ring me on Snapchat going, I need to get a drink, let's celebrate, Chips is out, woo!
Yeah, I'm disappointed about Jodie leaving, but I think it's time for Chibnall to go.
Do you know what? I think it's going to be really telling, right? Is that this is going to be one of those series where, with it being the long storytelling, it could really fit him. And everybody was going to go, oh, this is really sick. If only he stayed on like another year and did another series, or it could end up being like that.
This is make or break. It's like what happened with Moffat. Series 8 and 9 happened. They were like, oh, God, he needs to go. Series 10 happened. They were like, wow, this is great stuff. New showrunner took over the next series. Series 11. Oh.
I mean, obviously, there are a bunch. There are a bunch.
Who knows which way it could go?
I mean, I'm always rooting for Doctor Who to be good. I never want it to be bad. I always want to enjoy it.
No, of course, yeah.
I
think every fan they have in their head. There's a direction that they want it to go in.
Yeah.
Because mine and yours, you know. I prefer it to go into a totally different direction to how you'd want it to go. You want it to be all
we've spoke about this,
happy and jolly. You don't like the Doctor to be dark. You don't like the Doctor to be ferocious. You don't like the Doctor to be aggressive. No, I like those little moments where the Doctor can stand up and be like that.
Oh, I whenever the Doctor stands up, I get a bit jealous. But yeah, no, I think for me, I'm much more a fan of kind of like the more warm-hearted, endearing Doctors compared to the more. Again, I don't think that's why I think every Doctor's good, because every Doctor has a bit of that. But it's why I wasn't a massive fan of Jo Martin. Jo Martin's writing, and I thought she did a great job of what she had again. But for me, it was just off the bat. She's way too confident. Like she walks in the room.
The Doctor needs to be confident. This is what I mean.
Some people enjoy it. Some people enjoy it.
Yeah.
And again, and that's absolutely fine. It's a similar reason as to why I'm not really a massive fan of William Hartnell, because sometimes I think he's just a bit of a dick. And I'm like, it's
podcast cancelled.
It's kind of fun, mate. I've forgot this one. I've reviewed the time though. Anyway, this is not new news. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds. I'm sad about Jodie. I think Jodie's been incredible overall. I think characterization hasn't been maybe the best, and there could have been more to her character. I think we got to see elements of that in series 12. Hopefully, we see more in series 13.
it. I would like to look back on the Chibnall era as a whole when it's complete. I think that
Yeah.
might be the only way to look upon it. When Chibnall's gone and the new showrunners took over, I think the only way is to you don't look at it at the Chibnall era series by series. You look at it as the bigger picture, because I think that's how it might work as this one big slow burner. Whereas going through it in real time, it hasn't quite delivered like that, and it's been very hit and miss. But I feel that if they do it right, by November next year, we could look back at it with fondness.
Yeah,
and be like,
I
wow,
agree. I agree.
Now it all makes sense. Now all the pieces of the puzzle add up. I hope that's how it happens.
I want to leave you with one question, though. If you could choose maybe 2 or 3 holdovers from the Chibnall era to stick going forwards, I mean, there's one obvious one to me, which if people say no, I don't understand why. Which for me is Sacha Dhawan. I want to see Sacha Dhawan.
Sacha Dhawan, Joe Martin.
I even say the format. I like the 50-minute episodes. I think most when there's a long story to tell, it works. I know people were like more Doctor Who. We need as many episodes as possible. I think for me, you give me a series of 8 good stories. I'd much prefer that to 13 with 5 of them being bland and 8 of them being really good.
I've got my 3. Joe Martin, Sacha Dhawan, the TARDIS exterior.
I agree.
The interior can get in the bin, but the exterior, I'd like to stay.
I feel who was it that made the penis TARDIS?
Eaglemoss made the...
Eaglemoss. There, I can't believe we're going to use some of the last bits of merch of that TARDIS.
I can't wait to order that, and you know.
But yeah, it's like, again, I'm excited to see what the future holds. I'm excited for later this year to actually get a series of Who around, you know, it looks like Halloween time, and I'm not really a massive Halloween guy, so I don't mind staying inside and watching Doctor Who. I'm not really about that.
Did you see the accidental confirmation that was made the other day?
Yeah, Mr. Moffat being a bit cheeky on the Instagrams.
We all knew it was happening, but I think that if word got back to Chibnall about that, I bet Chibnall was like...
Chibnall would have lynched him. Yeah. But no, I didn't even know Moffat had Instagram. I didn't know Moffat had Instagram or something. I was like, I've been sleeping on the Moff's Instagram. I didn't know he had it.
What was especially funny was Russell T Davies commented on that post and just said spoilers in all caps.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was great.
Exactly. Yeah, it's I think the Weeping Angels being back, cool. Although, you know, I'm a big Moffat's my favourite, but I'm excited to see what Chibnall will do with them. I think legitimately one of the strong points of the Chibnall era has been he's taken a previous villain and he's done them really well. Like his Dalek stories, I've legitimately enjoyed. I liked the Cybermen. I liked the Lone Cyberman. I didn't think the ending was good. I thought, you know, Ashard kind of got done over by the Master. The Master, again, a great bit of characterization. I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm excited to see.
I'm very excited to see what he does with the Sontarans.
Me too. You know, I wonder whether Dan Starkey will be back, not as Strax, but just in general. Will they bring him back?
As much as I like Strax, and I think Dan Starkey's great, I don't want to see Dan Starkey back. I've had enough of Dan Starkey playing every single Sontaran. Now I get the Sontarans are meant to be clones, but it would be nice to have someone playing the Sontarans as ferocious villains and not. Although I say that, Dan Starkey did it quite well in the Sontaran stratagem in the Poison Sky. So
I've also I think it speaks volumes about how the Sontarans have been sort of mistreated when their best, and again, this is no bright on the series, but the Sarah Jane Adventures story is the best Sontaran story of the modern era of Doctor Who. Yeah, it is. Sontaran stratagem goes in. I enjoy a lot of it. I don't like Luke Rattigan as a character; he just gets on my nerves. I think his redemption, but I think
we've got a mutual friend who's a big fan of that character.
Yeah. Let's not go into that though.
But no, I'm sort of biased towards Sontaran stratagem in the Poison Sky anyway, because
Series 4 is incredibly solid.
The cliffhanger of the Sontaran stratagem was what hooked me into Doctor Who, so I have that bias to it. You know, where everywhere Wilf's locked in the car. The car's the smoke. You know, smoke's bellowing from all the exhaust pipes.
You get that long shot of Tennant looking around.
There is that lovely long shot of just Tennant standing in the road, and there's all the smoke, and it's like, what is he gonna do next? That is what hooked me into Doctor Who. That's what I want to see more of. And they said that we're going to get that in Series 13 with cliffhangers and stuff like that. I hope we get stuff that hooks people like that.
Me too. Exactly. And I just want to get your, obviously, because me and you, John, and Owen would have speak about this tomorrow. But who would you say is your number one pick for showrunner, if you can pick one?
Pick one. I imagine Pete McTeague has already been said.
He probably would have been. You can say him anyway and give your own spin on it.
Yeah, Pete McTeague's the go-to. I wouldn't mind seeing Mark Gatiss take over.
Yeah,
it could be. It's unlikely, but who knows? Who knows? Who predicted Chibnall? No one predicted Chibnall.
Yeah, and when you think about it as well, it was quite a safe bet in terms of he is a good showrunner, and that maybe not to Doctor Who.
I think people when they announced that Chris Chibnall was going to take over Doctor Who,
everyone thought shit because he's done nothing.
No, they thought, oh wow, he did great work on Broadchurch. He'll be a great showrunner for Doctor Who. But then you look at the episodes he wrote beforehand. 42. The Silurian two-parter, and then Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, and The Power of Three.
They got better as they went on, but
also he wrote Cyberwoman for Torchwood
and Day One,
and fucking Day One. So
I like Cyberwoman.
Chris Chibnall as a writer, yeah, he's brilliant. Look at those Doctor Who and Torchwood episodes.
I like Cyberwoman. Bit of crying Yanto.
Yes,
But yeah, I think
Yanto's misery.
But I do think I do have a soft spot for Power of Three. I really like that story, and
No, I'm with you on that one. I like the Power of Three. It's got a certain quirk about it that I like. I can't put my finger on it. I can't put my finger on what that little quirk is with the Power of Three, but I like it.
The ending was ruined as well by the actor not wanting to play ball as well, so they had to do like the most dumb ending. The guy who was playing the hologram dude, there was meant to be a much bigger ending with that, but he just wouldn't play ball.
I serve the talent.
Did you not know that? So yeah, there was going to be the original script was going to be like they were going to have like a proper fight and brawl and stuff, and he just wouldn't play ball on set, so they literally had to do Sonic, and that's it, because he wouldn't do it.
Fucking shit.
So yeah, I think that's the only bit where the Power of Three kind of dips is the ending, because it's like, oh, Sonic, yay.
I still feel that I know why they went for the title of the Power of Three, because of the TARDIS team. There's three of them, but the original title, I think, in one of the first press releases for it, I remember the episode just being called Cubed. The Power of Three. That I would have preferred that as a title. That's just me.
But that's like the smallest of
it's exactly. It's a more subtle type. But whenever I watch, I'm like, oh, this episode should have been called Cubed, and that would have been a nicer title.
That would have been a sexy name.
No, it's just how subtle it was. I like that bit, because then people would have to think about it, especially kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doctor Who is an educational show.
It is.
I remember as a child watching the Five Doctors, and the fake First Doctor says, "Oh, it's as easy as pie, and then they say it's a mathematical thing. I'm like, oh. So I went into school the next day, and I was like, "What's pi in maths?" And then they explained it to me. Ask questions, kids. It gets you places. I don't know why I told that story, but
yeah, don't listen to strangers online, kids. Jesus Christ!
Don't pay attention in school. Don't ask questions. Watch as much reality TV as you want. Love Island is the greatest thing on TV.
However, yeah, I say I am getting invested in Love Island at the minute.
Oh, Alex, don't.
I'm sorry. It's true.
Oh,
I can watch that stuff all day. Yeah. Why have you not got a whiskey right now? I'm drinking alone. Um,
that means having to run into the kitchen. I'm fine for
just
another
do it.
hour.
Just do it. It's fine. I'll
No, I don't want a drink.
take a shot of whiskey.
I don't want one.
Uh, but yeah.
Don't make me.
I wonder what's going to happen next. What's from September when we're living in the same building? We have to do a podcast, so it'll just be in the same room with the same mic, or whether we have to be on Zoom
I
still.
just won't be on it. Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we'll get now onto the main event of this podcast. We're talking about Black Panther. We're building up to the hype to Infinity War. This is our final stop before we get there. 2018's Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler, and possibly the most influential superhero film of all time. Considering the numbers it did,
Are you forgetting Howard the Duck?
I mate, look, there were levels.
It did great. It did great things for ducks.
I'm trying to do like a
less people went out shooting. It was yeah.
They just played duck. They just played Duck Hunt instead. But yeah, no, one of the most influential superhero films, if not films of the last decade, and overall one of the most, it started a revolution within film and genre and what's possible.
Amen. We're starting a revolution
with representation.
Make sure to print the pamphlets, bro.
That was last review. You're late. But yeah,
I know, but you said revolution, so I was like, we're going to start a revolution, bro.
Obviously starring the great Chadwick Boseman, who we sadly lost last year. I think it's coming up to about a year soon, isn't it? I think must be.
Yeah, I think it was August last year. Do you want me to ask my friend Google?
Yeah, go on.
Bear with. Talk, Alex. Explain more.
Look, I'll give a quick plot. So essentially, this is straight off the back of Civil War. I think it's actually set in 2016, around the time of Civil War.
It's set 1 week after.
So
it's set exactly 1 week after the events of Civil War. So this actually runs concurrently with Black Widow. Ish.
Yeah. So essentially, the plot is T'Challa is set to become king after the death of King T'Chaka in Captain America: Civil War, and essentially he gets coronated. But then Ulysses Claw, who we obviously met first in Avengers: Age of Ultron, is causing some havoc with a unknown entity, someone called Eric. Eric Stevens, I believe that his alias he goes by. It turns out that actually, this Eric Stevens guy from Oakland technically is T'Challa's father's brother's son. I don't, would that make him like what, cousin?
Yeah.
T'Challa's cousin. But essentially he has a right to the throne. And then that's kind of where it goes. So obviously Eric wants the throne. He has to try, and T'Challa's trying to. They have very different morals of T'Challa not wanting to reveal the secrets of Wakanda to the rest of the world, and wanting to uphold the thoughts of the previous rulers, whereas Eric's like, no, we should use this to not only help but also take over the world, and that's not where it goes too far. And at the end of the film, they find a happy medium where Wakanda can help out the world. I think as well, this is one of the films with possibly one of the best casts in the Marvel universe. I think you've got obviously Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, Forrest Whitaker, Lupita Nyong'o, Denai Guerrero, so many people, and obviously Letitia Wright as well. So many good actors. It's just got a great cast.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of other
Angela Bassett.
Compare it to. Yes, she's great.
I mean, like, there are so many. I mean, you can even say
there's some points of the acting where I felt wasn't particularly good. Now, Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan.
Let's get your overall thoughts first, because obviously coming into this, this review, Connor wasn't the biggest fan of Black Panther.
No, I thought it was quite. I still think it's a little bit overrated. I appreciate it more now. Um, Chadwick Boseman's performance is electric. The, I yeah, I enjoyed the film more now than the first time I watched it, which I think I watched it the week after I saw Infinity War, and that's the only time I watched it.
Why did you watch it after? That's why you're wrong. It's build up.
Because I wasn't that. I'd seen MCU films, but I wasn't that
That well
up to
versed.
date. I didn't see Thor Ragnarok at about the same time.
That's you missed out there, mate.
I know. I'd have loved to have seen
Um,
that in the cinema. But it's
yeah, I mean, look, for me, it's one of the. I always struggle with MCU solo films. I mean, for me, one of the most overrated films of the MCU was the original Iron Man. I still love that film, which if you want to go back all the way to
no,
almost the beginning of
I
the
agree
podcast.
with you. I agree
But
with
when
you.
but
Yeah.
when I see it in lists, whenever I look at rankings of the Marvel
I
movies, I see it in like seventh, sixth. I'm like, well, it's not there. I understand people have nostalgia for it, which I don't, because my first MCU film was Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014, so I was doing a lot of catch up. But for me, it's not there. And when I get to the ranking podcast with some other guys as well, that you can Iron Man won't be in the top five or anywhere near that, to be honest. But I think this film is one of the better MCU solo films. I think
Yeah, I agree with you on that. What I
I
would
think
say
over
is, I traditionally with superhero films, I'm I don't really enjoy origin films.
I'm with you.
Iron Man, Captain America: The First Avenger,
I
Captain
disagree with you
Marvel,
there. I kind of agree with you there. Captain America:
um,
First Avenger is a
first
great
the
film.
first Thor film.
I
No,
agree with you there. It's a bit.
Spider-Man's the Sam Raimi one. Homecoming I liked, but I think that's
It was
because
not
of the
really.
Civil War
It's
introduction.
not. It's also not really an origin film, is it?
Exactly, it isn't. I mean, you could argue that the whole trilogy of Spider-Man films in the MCU is basically one big origin story. But
But I
yeah,
agree with you. I think like whenever, for example, I watch how do I explain it? Whenever I watch like superhero TV shows like Flash, Arrow, I much prefer it when like the team's already built together and you already understand the characters. I'm very much like whenever I do a rewatch of most TV shows. Series one is rarely my favorite series because what I love is the interaction between the characters when they're in their prime. It's like the series two, series three. So whenever you get that, so like
mm,
whenever I see Thor in the first Avengers film and the first Thor film, I'm like, this isn't the character I like. This is
when he's talking like someone out of a Shakespeare play. Oh
yeah.
brother, where art thou?
But
All
yeah,
that
I
stuff.
think overall to go out to Black Panther, I think this film is really strong actually in the non superhero elements.
Yeah,
And I think like I think those fights by the waterfall for the contest for the throne are some of the best action sequences in the MCU because they're raw, they feel more real. Whereas a
yeah.
comparatively,
I prefer a fight scene that isn't chop 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 CGI.
which
I don't like.
which is
I
unfortunately
like a fight scene to be a fight scene.
which
Which
unfortunately is
unfortunately we
where
only got one of those in this film.
we
Really.
got we got two. We get two technically.
Yeah.
But the finale fight for me, unfortunately, isn't is a bit of a
No.
letdown. But we'll get to that later on.
That is
Overall,
that
though,
just it's just neon,
yeah, over
electric lights. This is meant to be
yeah,
futuristic. These
yeah.
people have more power than you.
But I have to say, in
They're
comparison,
years ahead of you technologically.
though, I'd have to say the introduction to T'Challa, with the "I never freeze" and the dark sequence, where the only things you get to see are the light from the gun being shot. I think that's an incredible sequence,
That
and that is where Ryan Coogler shines as a director. You get and that shot where you see him in the tree, and literally the only thing that you see of him is the shine off the flashlight, and you see the eyes of the mouse.
I love the contrast between Wakanda and America.
Yeah,
When the contrast is great, and I also at the end of the film as well, where so obviously you start off, Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger is a child, and his father gets killed, blah blah blah, and then at the end of the film, after Killmonger has died, spoiler alert, T'Challa goes there, and then he's just looking at the kids,
Yeah,
and it's just
that's
like,
it's a very full circle ending.
yeah,
But I also say as well at the very start of the film, if you guys don't know, on Disney Plus, they have re-edited the Marvel Studios intro with all images and shots of Chadwick Boseman, and instead of the
similar to what they did for Stan Lee with Captain
Stanley with
Marvel.
Captain
Yeah,
Marvel, yeah.
I
Um,
knew that they did it for something, and it's been bugging me because I was trying to find it a couple of weeks ago on YouTube. What is the Chadwick Boseman one? And I didn't know. And then you obviously sent that in earlier before I watched it. And I was just like, that's what it was.
so
So I
yeah,
remember seeing it on Twitter, and then I forgot about it.
I also love to say, so one of the strengths of this film is the majority of the time there are a few blunders in every Marvel film, but I think this time in film, this film is legitimately quite funny. There are some bits that I like. The whole "I never freeze" and then he freezes, and like obviously you get the whole like cringe humor which is funny in
Oh,
2018. Like the what
let
are
me talk about
those?
this. Yes, I want to talk about that. Any
Um,
movie where they interpret any sort of meme, it's going to date the film, and yeah, it's not aged well. That, and it's sort of just
it's
like
one little bit. It's one little bit though. It's
it
like
sort of
this.
threw me off a bit, and it was awful. That bit was awful. And
I just like
there was also a line where Shuri calls Martin Freeman's character a colonizer, which I thought was a
what?
bit,
What?
yeah, as a joke. She calls him a
Damn.
colonizer.
Damn. I'd have to say though, as well, I do think Shuri comes across in this film very well. And I forget how cool she is because when
I
people say
prefer Shuri in Infinity War.
I really like her here. I think she's pretty cool. Obviously she's meant to be like the young teenager to T'Challa who's like the cool head. She's meant to be a bit more, zany, and I think they contrasted her well.
She is the
Um
whiz kid of
Yeah, and
family.
I really like the whole stuff where she's like, the corset isn't uncomfortable. Can we just go home? I'm bored. I love the whole thing where she's flipping off to Charla and the mother knows it. Like, I think that stuff's brilliant. I think as well the interaction between Trevor Boseman and Martin Freeman are some of the best stuff in
Yeah,
the film.
the inclusion of Martin Freeman, I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah. Um,
I thought it sort of added a nice little dynamic where is this American guy who wants to do it the American way, and then T'Challa saying
yeah,
no, we
yeah. I
do it
think as
our
well
way.
it brings it back to the whole thing of you forget to this point anyway, the world doesn't know about Wakanda and the vibranium,
Hmm.
how much there is. So,
And
obviously, Everett Ross thinks that the country is just this poor, you know, little country where actually,
that it's a nice sort of it's a flip on basically it's about immigration. Let's open up the borders, let
yeah,
people know about us, and let's welcome the world. That it's it, and for it,
it's a
that's
very
what it's sort of a
serious.
subversion where they do it where it's an African country opening up their borders to America.
Yeah,
And
absolutely,
I
and
like how
that's
that's done. That is done. That's something I didn't really process. The first time I watched it, I didn't really pick up on that subliminal messaging of it. I didn't
and
really
again,
read between the lines on that.
that's exactly what Killmonger's also talking about, isn't it? He's like, we're an
Yeah,
African country.
the thing is that
We've seen our
Killmonger has a very good point. He's got
yeah.
a great point.
He
And
does.
the thing is,
In a,
if he went about his ways in a more sane manner and a more he
yeah, if
used
he
his
wasn't,
noggin a bit more,
yeah,
it would be great. It would be peaceful. It would be lovely. But
yeah,
because watching his father die and having his father die in his arms, because he was killed. Well, his father was killed by his own brother.
yeah.
That it sort of screwed him over, and so he was against Wakanda
Yeah,
in that way. But still, he had a good.
he was against what Wakanda stood for and their
He was
morals
against
and
their ideology of we need to be
yeah,
a secret.
yeah, exactly. And that's why I think as well. I love obviously it's a link for the comics, but I think they use it pretty well here. The scenes in the ancestral plane, all three of them, I think are really because at the start you get T'Chaka and T'Challa, and it's all about he's now the king, and it's kind of like his green presence. The second one is obviously Killmonger with his dad, and he's like, everyone dies, no tears for you. Like, I need to do what. And you actually see Killmonger's dad go, I done wrong. I should take you back. You're not who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be a better person. It's my fault. And obviously, the third one, which is my favorite, is when Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa has a go at T'Chaka and says, "No, we are wrong. You are all wrong. You've done this wrong the whole time." And he goes, "From now on, it's going to be different." And
That's that
that's
scene
where he
where
learns.
that scene where Killmonger dies is very nicely done
Oh,
because
absolutely. I
not
still love that.
the villain's got his comeuppance, right? But the hero has learned from the mistakes he's made,
Absolutely. I think it's one of those
and
films where
so it creates a nice.
T'Challa takes Killmonger's ideology, but does it the right way,
Yeah,
and he. But I think it's got one of the best lines of bury me in the oceans of my ancestors because they knew that death was better than bondage. I
that
think
was that is a line that hits hard.
is
I think
yeah.
I think that's a line that sort of puts the film. I think that is the line that makes that film so special to people, because that line does speak for generations of people who sadly had to, and that they did that,
Absolutely, yeah, and I think
they
as
were
well.
like, I'd rather die than be a slave, and who doesn't see that point really?
Absolutely, and I think exactly because again, Killmonger. You have points where you reason with him, and you sort of understand because also the leader of the border tribe, who is played by the great Daniel Kaluuya. I can't remember the names very well. I'm really bad with names in films. Obviously his dad was murdered by Claw, so you get to see that bit where he thinks T'Challa's got
There's
in
a
Claw.
bit of vengeance.
He lets Claw get away, and that's when he goes over, and you can sort of see why, because he knows Wakanda can kill and get the revenge, and eventually it consumes him like it consumes Killmonger. Thankfully, it doesn't consume. What's her name? Denai Guerrero's character, the one about with the.
I know who you're on about. I know
I know I'm on about. I need to quickly do a Google search.
Oh, there was one bit that there was one scene I couldn't take seriously.
Which was?
There is a scene where just before they rediscover T'Challa is still alive and he's in a coma. When they go up to the mountains,
M'Baku.
there is M'Baku. They will bark at them like dogs.
It's because they're meant to be like the wolves. They're meant to be like the wolves, aren't they?
But I couldn't take that seriously.
I don't think you're meant to, though. I think they're meant to be. I think it's meant to be.
No, I know, but it just felt very out of place.
It took out at the moment. But I think
I just thought that wasn't really needed. They could have done something else.
I think it reflects. I think it's trying to reflect how M'Baku and his tribe view the problems of the royals in Wakanda, because they've sort of been left to the side. Like he says later on, "Oh, no royals come up here in generations, and they expect me to help you." And that's sort of it's to show that they think that, oh, you're trying to bark at us and tell us what to do, and actually you've left us out here to die in the cold mountains. I'd say though, M'Baku's was a character that I just love in this film whenever he's there. I love his presence in the first fight when you literally hear him like doing this chant and he has this gorilla mask on.
There's also a nice little bit of foreshadowing for Infinity War.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm on about?
No, tell me.
Where he basically says that I'm not going to stand with you. We're not going to help you.
What are they doing in this film?
Yeah, I know, but that line also in Infinity.
Yeah, because he does in Infinity War. Thank you for standing with me again.
And then T'Challa looks and says, "Thank you," and they sort of give each other that look, saying that this doesn't happen, but this needs to happen. So that's just little.
I think as well. Winston Duke's incredible. I think every bit of the cast are doing a great job. I don't really buy in the love story between T'Challa and
love stories in superhero films often
Nikita
bog down the film for me anyway. Nikita,
but like this is Nikita,
it's a cold in your little corner of the world. I did not know Elton John made the soundtrack for this movie.
Shut up.
Can someone re-edit Black Panther, but just add Nikita into a random scene? Or when they have their little romantic moment. Hey Nikita.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind their relationship. I also forget how much Killmonger is not in the first half of this film at all.
No, he's very absent. But
it's more of the Ulysses Claw show for the first half.
Yeah, and there is that subversion again, where you think Claw's going to be in it for a good part of it, and then fuck you, Killmonger comes along, and he's like, I mean business. You just want profit. I want more than that.
Exactly, and that's why it turns. Because when I first watched it, I was like, why did he randomly turn on Claw? But then you realise that Killmonger knows he's not going to get what he wants by working with Claw, and he's not going to get,
I was disappointed they killed off Claw. I think they could have done.
I reckon they could still bring him back.
They could have done more with him, but
you didn't see a body. You didn't see. You obviously see him like chop the body, but you don't see his dead body, and that's why.
Well, you never know with Wakanda technology. Something might happen in a sort of Frankenstein way, and sort of just zaps him back. But who knows?
You can tell.
That's not going to happen. But
you can tell as well that Andy Serkis is having a lot of fun as Claw.
Well, it's nice seeing Andy Serkis as Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
And not some CGI, not a CGI ape or a little goblin. So
yeah, absolutely. And I love the scene where he's singing. I forgot what song he's singing, but he's having a great time just chugging away. Says, they all are in these films. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think the only thing that really lets this film down for me. I enjoy it thoroughly throughout. I think it looks great. I love the whole car chase and I love the use of Wakandan technology. I think
you like that car chase.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot the name of the character, so forgive me. But at the end of that sequence where the car has been blown to bits and stripped apart and whatever, and she's just sliding down the road. Nikita, right? She would have gone through that fucking windscreen. She would have been gone.
But it doesn't matter. It's a mom.
She would have been gone. I know, but it's just stuff like that. I'm just like.
Well, that was very necessary.
We've seen all that before. We've seen all that before, though. Like sort of. Oh no, my car's gone. And it's like something from a Looney Tunes cartoon. And I just didn't think it. I just thought that was out of place.
I love the ending of that sequence though, where obviously he's right there to get his revenge, and then obviously Okoye goes, "The world is watching, don't." And it's
also, why does T'Challa ride on the roof of the car?
Because it's fun. It looks cool.
When in Civil War,
he runs
faster than cars.
He's just chilling. It's one of those little films inconsistencies.
He had enough after the last week that he could. Bear in mind, the events of the film take place a week or so after Civil War. He might have just been tired.
He also got his powers stripped and then came back and let the man breathe.
Yeah.
But I thought overall it's really good. I love the aesthetic of this film. I think it looks wonderful. And like you said, like when you go to Wakanda, it looks magnificent. It's sort of what they were missing with Asgard. I think Asgard looks sort of bland and boring, whereas Wakanda looks.
I think the reason Asgard ended up looking as it did was the direction that the first film was taken, where it was very Shakespearean and it was meant to be all muted and dark. And we're all very serious actors. And Thor is a very serious movie. But Taika Waititi's changing that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not going to go back to Asgard anytime soon, I don't think. But
Loki season 2.
maybe then, but not in our
Not in the
timeline.
sacred timeline.
Yeah, not in the sacred timeline. Not in the timeline that Kang has entirely mapped out for all our characters.
Which can?
We know we're getting Kang the Conqueror in Quantum Mania.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but yeah,
possibly Doctor
I
Strange.
think I love that this film has some real world consequences. Like every action T'Challa does outside of Wakanda, there is these permutations to leaking the the secrets and the vision of Wakanda. I think it's really interesting. I love the whole. I still love the interactions as well. Of between when Okoye is talking to T'Challa in Africa in front of Ross, and she's like, "I'll kill him if he touches you again." And he's like, "Does she speak English?" And she just replies with, "When she wants to." It's like it's top tier. But yeah, I think like we've said, we've gone over everything. I think the ancestral plane scenes are probably the highlight of the film for me. I love the whole thing as well. I love the visual of Killmonger literally burning Wakanda to the ground by destroying the Heart Chamber. I think that's one of the sickest visuals of the film.
Yeah, when I was watching that, it reminded me of the film on the poster behind me. And for those who are listening to the podcast, it's a poster of the film Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk, who we said peace and love to currently.
Yeah,
Following his heart attack.
much. Hopefully he's okay, and hopefully he'll be
Um,
able to get back to acting sooner rather than later. Because I'm
well,
fairly
yeah,
sure
he's got to finish filming Better Call Saul season 6. But there's a
the
scene in
final
Nobody
season.
where Bob Odenkirk's character Hutch Mansell, he burns down the Russian ob shack, and there is a shot very similar. So you know where Killmonger's burning all those plants and stuff
The
like
heart
that.
shaped herb. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just stood there solitary, and everything's burning around him. There is a shot very similar to that in Nobody. It's shots like that I love. It's the nihilism of those characters. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, as I say as well,
Can't get
this is
enough
one
of
of my
it.
favorite. This is one of my favorite soundtracks in the MCU. The use of the instruments and the like when you that main Wakanda theme with the trumpets and how grand it feels. And
Oh, the Wakanda theme was great.
yeah.
Um,
I'm not very good at my
yeah,
instruments, but
I
the whole
see what you mean.
and they go bam bam bam. I love that stuff, and I think it's great. And that build up when you go through the mountain and you go through the portal, and then that's when you get the
Yeah,
music. I think amazing editing. I still
it's
love that.
nicely
I love that
edited.
shot as well, where Killmonger's got the throne. You get that swerve shot where it goes underneath and twists, and
Yeah,
it's,
that's
it's
very nice.
it's wonderful. Again, I just love the conversation in this film. I love the scene where Killmonger finally gets to the throne, and they're like, he won't be able to challenge, and obviously T'Challa knows exactly who he is. And
Killmonger in this film, he sounds like he just wants a nap. The way
I
that
think
the dialogue
he's
is
just
delivered,
he's just tired, man. He just.
very, I don't take them listen.
But I love he just goes, "Hi, Auntie." I think that's.
I am too.
But no, I think Michael B. Jordan's the
I'm
best
your
actor
king
in this
now.
whole film. I love him. I think he's the best actor in this film. I think he's fundamentally. I love. I like. I know you might. I really like his line delivery in this film. I think he. I think.
There are good moments, obviously, like his death scene. But yeah,
Yeah.
but it's having seen Michael B. Jordan in Creed 2.
Yeah.
He could have get it a bit more.
So you think he's underperformed in this one?
Well, I would have liked more life in the dialogue. Now I get the sort of character he is, but I'd like it to be a bit less muttered. But it's still perfectly understandable. But it's just sometimes it's just very cold.
Yeah, it's just it. I think overall, have you got any other like complaints or anything you want to talk about before we talk about the final?
Not
So I have to
really.
say, Forrest
Not
Whitaker's
really.
death is the most dumb thing
Apart
in this
from.
film.
Oh yeah, but we'll gloss over that.
I mean, like because I love the scene where he explains it, and I think Forrest Whitaker's doing a very good job until but the death is so bizarre. He's like, "No, kill me," and he's like, "Oh, I'll just kill you both then." He dies, And then I love how it builds up to one of the best Michael B. Jordan bits in the film. He goes, "Is this your king?" And T'Challa's just trying to strike him without thinking about it, and he's obviously just dodging. And he goes, "Is this your king? Huh? This is the person that's going to lead you into the next stage of the glory of Wakanda." It's like top tier. Yeah.
But in this day and age, you don't need to have that big physical strength to be a king.
Nope.
You need it up there. That's the only strength you need to rule in this day and age is up there.
Which unfortunately has been corrupted. System. But yeah, is there any other notes you got?
What do you mean it's been corrupted, Alex?
No, yours. Killmonger's, not yours.
No. Oh, I thought you meant real world.
No, I mean,
how is real world leadership? How is that corrupt?
Well, let's not go. Let's not go there. This is a podcast about a superhero film. No. Please tell us. I refuse to.
Sounds like your good friend Donald Trump.
I don't think.
How do you feel about how do you feel about your great leader Boris Johnson expecting another child? Yet another one.
Yet another. Anyway, let's bring this back to Black Panther. I think for me the only thing that really lets this film down is the final battle. I think it looks too CGI heavy dependent. I love the whole, as you can see, I'm not dead bit. I think that's really cool. Obviously it got memed, which was horribly memed, after the passing of Chadwick. But I do love that bit in the film. I think overall it's quality. It's a great return, and I love how they go back to the whole thing of the battle is still on, and you obviously get the bit where W'Kabi goes border tribe Bambeli, and he actually side to Killmonger, and stuff like that. I think it's quality. But then as soon as they go out to the train tracks, I'm like, just confused.
When it's on the train tracks, you're like, oh god, here we go, generic superhero movie.
Yeah, and it's also like everything looks unrealistic. Like you look at Infinity War, even though that's all computer generated, it looks real. Whereas the Black Panther models, they look really, I don't.
They had more time and money.
Yeah, I think that was the debate. I do have the whole stuff with Ross. I think Ross is piloting the ship, and he has to realize that he's about to be killed, but he still sticks in the ship to get rid of the last transport thing. I think that's really cool. I think
it's just like he has a purpose. At that point, he's like, okay, he's had a purpose in this film, and he is one of the good guys. So he's not that dodgy.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think. I don't think he's ever come across as dodgy. I think he obviously
but there's that bit of suspicion that you have.
Our main centerpiece is obviously through the eyes of the Wakandans. So that's why. But I think, I really like it. But yeah, the ending falls a bit flat for me, and only that like 2-3 minutes. But I think based on the action that we get in the early half, I mean, it could have been a really cool hand-on-hand combat ending, and it just turned into this computer-generated mosh.
Yeah.
I do like the bit. I do like the bit as well where M'Baku actually comes and his tribe come and help out. You get that really cool.
Yeah, it's sort of a bit like they're making up. They're helping each other.
It's great, isn't it?
But yeah, if moving on from that, obviously we've said all we can say about it now.
Relatively, I'm trying to think.
Going forward into Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, I'm interested to see where they're going to take it.
They're going to give it to Shuri, I think.
Are they going to carry on the story of, are they going to kill him off? Are they going to say that?
Yeah,
Are they going to pull a Paul Walker, in which he's alive in the universe somewhere? He's just retired.
He'll be in the ancestral plane.
Yeah.
There'll be some
CGI done.
There will be the smallest shot of when whoever the next Black Panther goes to. What they'll do is they'll get T'Chaka back, probably the guy that play, and they'll get him to be like, "This is my blessing," and you'll see the smallest shot CGI of Chadwick like smiling or something, and that'll be it. But I mean, yeah, I think looking forward to Black Panther. I think the team know what they're doing. They're going to do whatever they do tastefully.
Yeah, and they've got the blessing of Chadwick's family. So that's all you really need to know.
Yeah, I think he loved. I mean, also as well, we didn't realize at the time that he. This is probably where he just began to learn about his cancer. I think he knew at this point whilst filming
Yeah,
that he.
I think it has been confirmed that when he was filming this, he was ill.
Yeah,
That's
and
an,
it's
you know,
and
it
it's
just
and
makes
it's
that performance extra special, doesn't it?
and
Really,
yeah,
where
well, I think it makes the man extra special. I think it makes him as a
oh
person
yeah, yeah,
one of the. I don't know whether you saw it. It was a clip generating around when when Black Panther was coming out and he was doing the press rules for it. There was a kid who had cancer who wanted to see a
yeah,
superhero of this who looked like him before he died, and obviously
yeah.
Chadwick breaks down because I don't think he was able to in the end. I think unfortunately he passed before the film was able to be finished. But honestly, I think it's just I want to give credit to the man that Chadwick Boseman was. I think he was. We talk about real life superheroes, and there are a few out there. I think he is one of them. The fact that he was able to give us these stories and keep going and wanting to pursue, or wanting to be the change for people of color, and I think to show that they can be heroes too. And I think because I know that people like it was so cliche when they were like, "Oh, it's great to see somebody who is of color being a superhero." No, that is true because we don't before Black Panther. Who was there? It was sidekicks. There was War Machine. There was Falcon. This is the
Mm.
first proper. And I think he did a great job. And I'm so happy that he at least got to end the Infinity Saga. I'm so happy that we got to that point. I think it would have been a shame if this was all we got. Obviously, I would love to see more Chadwick Boseman in the MCU, and I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to Wakanda Forever because I know it's not going to be the same as what it was before, and I guarantee, and especially that film, I feel for whoever takes over, it's going to
I
be.
feel like Wakanda Forever is. I feel like it's going to stick out like a sore thumb, and I mean that in the nicest way. I feel like it's just gonna. It'll feel like a tribute film. I don't want it to feel like that. As much as yes, pay tribute to the great man that Chadwick Boseman was, don't make it a tribute film.
Well, it's going to be about trying to live up to the legacy of
Yeah, but
T'Challa, isn't it?
there is that. But what I mean is that there's you don't want it to be too on the nose of.
I mean, at this point, I don't know whether fans would really care. I mean, we could all want it the criticism's sake of all, but I think for Marvel and for the fans, I think they might take a bullet in this one in terms of overall film quality and just make it into that film for Chadwick
Mm,
Boseman fans, for Black Panther fans, for fans of the character, for fans of for fans of the guy, and just go, this is going to be one film that's essentially just a love letter to him and who he was. And they might sacrifice some story, and I don't think people would be too mad at that.
well, it's still in the hands of Ryan Coogler, and I think he'll
Ryan
do a good job.
Coogler and also Kevin Feige knows exactly what he's doing as well.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he's a magic man. But yeah, coming up. Anything else you want to talk about Black Panther?
No,
Before we just
I think we're done on that.
if we just wrap this up and
Yeah.
talk about next week on the show, it's going to be the Elite Saturn with myself, John and Owen, and then Avengers Infinity War with a bunch of people. I don't know who's on it yet. There's going to be tons of us. So I'm putting the Avengers together and I'm cutting off my half brain game. No, I'm not. Yeah, we're going to be doing that, and then the MCU ranking for the Infinity Saga after Far From Home will be out as well. And then after that, obviously there'll still be MCU reviews because obviously Eternals, Hawkeye, Shang-Chi, all those are coming out. So when they come out and when they finish, I'll be able to make podcasts on them. I don't know whether I'll make full podcast on the Disney Plus shows, but I think it really depends on how important they are. Like Loki was a big one, even though I didn't make a podcast on that. It just so happened that I was talking about Thor Ragnarok the same week as Loki came out, so therefore to link the two was kind of easy and it made sense. Whereas if Hawkeye's a big MCU thing, then I have to do one for Hawkeye. But which we got to see our first promo image of this week. I don't know if we saw that. It was
Yeah.
there we go. Yeah, no, check out Connor on Twitter. I'm Connor63. He tweets once a month, if that. So if you want to go check out his tweet once a month, go and do that.
If you don't, you're not missing anything.
But yeah, cheers for listening, guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the Timeless Podcast on Twitter at the Timeless Pod. Follow me on Twitter at AlexKing_Dom. And we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.